But what I've liked is the way you blend things. You're not categories, as much as people that were my age growing up. It's not about black, white, Asian. It's about the person.
Well, that was
It's not country music or hip hop. It's why can't you like both?
Right.
I find you guys to be more fiscally conservative yet socially liberal. Gay marriage isn't a big deal in your world, but you want employment and jobs. I hope that creates a new brand of politician. Because the fastest growing segment in this country of the electorate is in the middle. The extreme left, which is Bernie Sanders, the extreme right, which is a Ted Cruz or a Donald Trump. That's not where most Americans are. Most Americans are somewhere where John Kasich is. Yet he can't buy a vote. Why is he not resonating with you guys? He is the guy that is made up of the politics that most of your age group believes in. Why can't he do anything?
Honestly, that name doesn't even.
Well, let me give you an example. He was a former member.
I'm not the only one. Who?
Former member of Congress who helped balance the budget. He is the governor of Ohio, which we all know is a purple state. It went for George Bush and then it went for Barack Obama. He was reelected in a state that is 50% Democrats and 50% Republicans by 70% of the vote. What does that tell you about his appeal across the aisle? And they balanced a budget. They're creating jobs. He's not a social conservative, it's not pro-life and anti-immigrant. He's a middle of the road, believes in compromise, believes in positivity, thinks we can get things solved, and he can't get on your radar screens to save his life.
He's not exciting.
Okay, so what you're really saying is millennials are just as shallow as the rest of us, and that we want dynamic personalities rather than actual candidates with answers.
Absolutely. Even though he exists,
yes,
and realistically that seems like the smart choice, we're going to continue to debate over Bernie or Hillary or Ted Cruz or Donald Trump because it's exciting. It's what we want to talk about.
All right, even though they may not be able to, any of those folks actually solve any problems.
I wonder how many individuals go into vote and don't know anything about the policies or who that person is, but just know the name or
the pressure for a party vote. Do you still have? Is that? I mean, is it still? You have to be a Republican. You have to be a Democrat.
A large amount of people, as I learned the last time I voted, or maybe 2 times ago, don't actually know. I witnessed a woman when I went in to vote that came in and she was having a squall with someone because she wanted to vote for the Christian one.
Yeah.
And that's what she kept saying. And they said, ma'am, we need to know if you're Republican or Democrat. And she didn't know.
Okay.
And I think that that's a large majority of the people. They're just uneducated.
Kyle, your group, your social circle, the people you hang out with, do you have to be a Republican? Do you have to be a Democrat? Is there room in the middle?
I think we'd like to say no, but I think the reality is yes, because, especially with the opposite, like when you mentioned people on opposite sides, and it looks like we're going to have to choose, as it sits right now, between two very different people. So I think especially this time, you're really going to have to choose one way or the other. But we always like to say yes. We're kind of in the middle. We're more moderate. But I think reality is going to kind of play out a little differently.
We also say that we don't. We're against the establishment, whatever that means.
Right.
I don't know what the establishment is. I assume when people refer to that, they mean the kind of the gridlock, what's been there forever and doesn't work. The president came to Springfield this week after being gridlocked in Washington, D.C. for 8 years to lecture the General Assembly in Springfield for being gridlocked. Was that irony lost on anyone?
Not at all. No. And I'm glad you said that, because I think at some point in our history, compromise has been viewed as a weakness. And I think if you look back at kind of like our founding fathers, some who were very different, they forgot we do this for the greater good of everyone. The loser used
to be the VP.
Yes. We do this for the greater good of everyone. So, it almost like they had a fiduciary responsibility to the people that they govern to do what's best for them.
And the job was to go there and then go back home.
Yes.
Now we elect people for life.
But now we want people to dig in their heels and, not budge on issues. But I think a sign of strength really would be compromise, because like it or not, if you're on one side or another, you have to work with someone who's elected on the other side of the aisle. Right. And I think one of the best examples of government was when Hurricane Sandy happened, and you have Obama and Christie, who are very diametrically opposed, but they worked together because people were dying after that hurricane. So.
And then the political slam was that Christie
lost the election for Romney.
Too close, right?
But I think that's one of our best examples of governing between two sides working together that we have seen maybe in decades. And I
it
wish
used
we
to
could
be
get back
that
to
way.
that.
You guys aren't old enough to remember Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, but Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House, and Ronald Reagan was, of course, twice elected president. And they would have their battles, but they would often end the day with a private drink, just the two of them, to hash out how to get things done. I don't sense that that's the way it is in Washington, D.C. now. And are you guys cynical about that? I mean, that it really doesn't even matter, your vote or what. I mean, that it's going to be what it's going to be no matter what you guys say at the ballot.
I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I just wish, well, here's where we're different. So let's agree to disagree, but here's where we can make some progress. There's a lot of problems to solve. Let's solve some of them rather than just take care of nothing, kind of like what's happening in our state right now. Let's work on something. Let's get something accomplished.